Oh, hello. Welcome back. Or welcome, as the case may be. We're going to finish Dark Souls today. Now, first things first. Just outline. We got what's left, because there's not a lot. But we have to do Siegmeyer's questline, finish that up. And then the DLC. DLC is... I wouldn't call it the best part of this game. Honestly, I still think Anor Londo and some of the bits leading up to that are better, at least in my opinion. But damn, DLC is pretty good. Can't go wrong with it. It's, kind of makes up for the less than high quality bits leading up to it. Though whether or not you could say it leads up to it or not is maybe a little debatable, but... for the most part, people playing this game are probably going to experience it with the DLC last. But anyways, Siegmeyer first. So when we last left off... we had given him some moss so he could make his way down through Blighttown. I'm just going to kill a few of these guys on the way. Don't really have to. They're not aggressive. Probably aren't even going to drop anything. Just for fun. Oh, that's interesting. Yes. Oh, yeah, and as you can see, they can drop sunlight metals as well as red titanite chunks. So if you do need to farm for any sunlight metals for any reason, you can do it here. It's tedious, it's stupid. I don't recommend it. Unless you absolutely have to, because you want one of the spells from the Covenant, and you can't just get summons or for any reason. But, it's just boring. Not something I would do, but whatever. To each their own. If you are running an offline Faith build, it could be pretty useful. So, I'm not going to completely knock it. And perhaps part of it is, I just don't run Faith builds. Done it like once, and it was alright. There's just other stuff I'd rather do. Oh, fuck off. Oh, this is a little dangerous. If you get grabbed here, especially with edges nearby, it's a bit of a recipe for disaster. Ow. Fuck you. Yeah, we don't have the Black Knight shield on, so we can't block that. Not high enough stability. Plus, it's a bit... there's some attacks in this game that are just a bit funky. With hitboxes or the way they interact with shields, or both. That would be one in its interactions with shields. Take a sip. Now, Siegmeyer, unless I have forgotten something, which is entirely possible... we should find him having made his way down from Blighttown to Lost Izalith. Which, let's be real, is pretty impressive. I know I've said this multiple times already, but I think it does bear reminding that Siegmeyer is actually quite capable. As much as we do have to help him out, because of his, well, inactivity, inability to just go for it in situations where he could probably come out ahead, or poor planning in the case of running out of moss. Despite all that, he made it to Anor Londo. He made it back. He made it down to Lost Izalith. Man's not bad. You're supposed to fall from that. But if you stick to the left side here, you can avoid the tumble. It won't make much of a difference. You're going to the same place anyways, but... can save a bit of health. Now you can see we have Siegmeyer here on a little ledge, taking a nap as always, with a bunch of those weird creepy things waiting for him. Now, to set something up, if we fall down there, the only way to go is down. Now for his questline to proceed, we need to kill all of those things without him falling below 50% health. Usually it's not too hard to do, but in order to at least not take a risk about it, we're gonna make things a little simpler. Also, what we're gonna do here, we have to make sure that we don't kill all of them. If you just wait, off the edge it goes. I'm gonna lure out this jerk face too. Genius. Now that one that we just lured off there is not actually one of the 4. So we're down to 3. Now we do have to be a little careful, because if we lure all of them, then we fail. So we'll just call it, we'll say 3 is good enough. If we can handle it with 4, usually, we can almost certainly handle it with 3. Then you just have to not fuck up. Alternatively, you could try and lure a few more off, but I think we'll be fine. Not gonna bother healing poison, because we're just gonna get it again. I'm gonna put on a rusted iron ring. Gonna have to reduce weight a little bit. We'll just run a couple Silver Knight pieces, and that should hopefully get us. Yeah. Just keep us a medium roll, and hello. We look pretty dumb. Also, should be noted, it's probably pretty obvious, you don't want to do a plunging attack into one of these guys, because, you just end up in the big, weird funnel mouths. Not what you're looking to do.
Excuse me, I was so absorbed in thought I just drifted away. Must be the warmth. Well, what's on your mind? No, don't tell me. Those monsters making life difficult for you? You need not be ashamed. We're all in the same boat, you know. I really have run up quite a debt to you. Perhaps the time has come.
Time for what? Well, we'll see. Heal up. Let's get ready.
Friend, I have an idea. A good one, really. I will rush those dire fiends, and you can slip away in the confusion. Please, friend. I owe you much more than this. By the honor of the Knights of Katarina, allow me to assist you. And now, I go. Don't be slow.
Him?
Come on! Over here, you fiend! Perish! Now, because
As you can see, he kicked ass.
Katarina, and you shall feel my wrath!
You're cool, dude. He could have played that a bit better. I don't know what the fuck that roll at the start was. But he took out about, I would say, 1.5 while we weren't looking. Or while we were dealing with our own.
But you, didn't you get away? Well, you've saved me, once again. Oh, thank goodness. I'm exhausted. I think I'll have a rest. Oh, don't you worry. The ground below me is my pillow. I'll recover shortly.
He's just gonna take a nap in the poison swamp. Never change. So yes, we have saved him once again. And he decided we've done much for him so far. He owes us. He's going to repay his debt by sacrificing his life, which he's an undead, so it's not exactly a sacrifice, but he's willing to die in order to give us a chance to get away. Instead, we decide to help him. And not only that, we ourselves kick ass. We managed to take care of a situation that he, frankly, would not be able to do so. In doing so, we save him once again, and in doing so, we injure his pride. He is someone who lives for adventure. He prides himself on being prepared for the worst, on being capable, which he is. And in us saving him, bailing him out so many times, we are slowly depriving him of that. Which... The irony of Siegmeyer's, and the thing I love about his quest line, and I think that really elevates it above pretty much all the others, is that he would have been so much better off if we never actually helped him. He might have hadn't gotten stuck in some places for a bit. Might have taken too long in others. Certainly if we'd never opened the gates to Sen's Fortress, there's a decent chance he never would have made it, but he'd been fine. And Orlando was no great place of revelation or anything for him. He didn't gain anything from being there. It was just a place to check out. He saw it, was like, nothing interesting here, let's go somewhere else. So even if we had never opened the gates to Sen Fortress, he'd probably have been fine. Had we never saved him in Blight Town, I mean, maybe he would have stayed there forever, but maybe he would have eventually just given up, gone for it, died, and gone somewhere else. Wow, I'm getting lost. Doesn't matter, I think I got everything here anyways, I could just homeward out. Instead, by continuing to help him, we're taking something perhaps a bit more valuable from him. His pride, his self-assurance, maybe, and his reason to keep going. Oh, this is the last bonfire, is that? Jeez. We still have to talk to his daughter. Just a bit more running, I guess. I think she was at Firelink. We're about to find out. Excellent.
Well, hello again. I have finally located my father. All of your help was invaluable to us. Thank you so much. I was finally able to pass on my mother's last words.
Yep.
My father, he went on his final adventure. Don't worry, that's just the way he is. Undead or no. Sort of reassuring, really. If he goes hollow, I'll just have to kill him again.
There's a bit to unpack there, but we'll go over it again. His final adventure is how he is. Kill him again. So, seemingly he's gone hollow in the past. She's been forced to kill her own father, but he seems to have come back from that. A bit odd, or perhaps he just started to lose himself and she managed to get him out of it in time. I'm not actually sure. You could argue maybe not the most well thought out, or maybe we're just missing something, or who knows. But she seems happy enough. She delivered her mother's final words, which we now know, okay, his wife is dead. She had some final words for him. Whether or not they were anything bad, or what even they were, it's not very clear. It was just, she had something to say to him. Daughter delivered the message. Daughter seemed happy enough to do so, and Dad's like, alright, I'll go on my last adventure, supposedly. And she's like, that's just how he is. Maybe he's gone on quote-unquote last adventures before, and just can't stop himself going on more afterwards. Who knows? It's honestly not important. She doesn't seem to suspect much of any problems. This is just, did her duty. He's going on his usual way. Happy times all around. So she seems to think. Now, I think unfortunately our fastest way is Daughter of Chaos again. We're going to head down to the bottom of the Great Hollow. There's an area there that we've yet to explore. And there's the final bit of their quest line ends down there as well. Up comes the elevator. And I feel Siegmeyer's quest line, perhaps more than any of the others, sort of... I don't know the word for it. Not quite encapsulates, but... I guess you could say, is a good example of one of the prevailing themes of Dark Souls. The first, at least, where trying to help, trying to save things, trying to butt in, make people's lives, or help people on their journey, make their lives better, or really just trying to correct something that's already going wrong, always ends up in catastrophe. Oftentimes a bigger failure than if you had ever just left it alone. That's maybe not always the case. I think Solaire is probably the one you could point to there, where it's debatable if by killing the maggot and taking away his chance at finding his personal son from that, whether you help him or not. At the very least, he doesn't end up with a bug on his head and completely insane. That's probably a good thing. But, on the flip side, he's left without an answer, without a conclusion. He does not find his son. He does not know where to look. He doesn't even have the false son to cling to. Whether you did him a favor or not, nah. I think you probably did, but that's something that could at least be argued. I can understand the point of, well, he might have honestly been happier just worshipping or whatever he was doing with a bug on his head and going mad down beneath the world. Versus being forced to struggle on, seemingly feeling empty and devoid of purpose, losing hope, uncertain of where to go, or maybe whatever his quest was, at the very least, for his personal son, whatever that even meant, he seems to have given up on it. He did not find it, no matter where he looked. He's lost. Whether that's a better fate than the bug, who knows. But I think it is worth at least saying that you find Solaire's summon sign near the final boss. He can be summoned to help you with the final boss. So, knowing him, he probably would have gone on to Link the Fire, becoming, in a way, his own personal son. Which, I'd call that a happy enough ending. So I would say that what you did for him is probably for the best. Also, I'm just going to say right now, we're not actually going to be exploring this place very much. I'm not a fan of trying to actually get all the stuff in the Great Hollow if I don't have to. A lot of it's dropping down onto sometimes rather difficult drops. Very easy to miss, and very easy to die. Because if you miss, you are pretty much just dead. Like, I could go for that, I don't fucking want to. None of this stuff is worth it. We are just going to do our best to descend normally. We'll get whatever we can along the way. I'll try to remember where even to go. Descending normally. I'm so used to just doing all the drops that I'm honestly forgetting where the normal route even is. Can't remember if you can actually make that drop. Let's try. Okay, yeah. Some of the ground hitboxes, or whatever they're called, in this place are considerably funky, to put it lightly. I'll probably be demonstrating one of them earlier, where it is downright difficult to run up this tiny little blip in the ground for whatever reason. I'm not gonna say, I don't want to make it sound like I hate the Great Hollow, though. I think it's interesting. And if all you want to do is get down, it's not that bad. But trying to get all the stuff in it is just a nightmare. And it's completely optional. It's downright difficult to find, so you bet your ass it's optional. Most people won't even know it's there. Can I? Let's go this way. This is maybe a mistake, actually. I want to drop onto that, I guess. Oh, I don't need the ring anymore, I suppose. Yeah, it's difficult to find behind two illusory walls. There's nothing of all that much importance here. I kind of want to... Yeah, it looks pretty bad. There's not much of importance down here. Just upgrade materials and some fun little items. Chloranthy ring, for example, you could maybe get some use out of. Ow. But we didn't die. Oh, shit! I should have gone Havels for this. Yeah, there's basically only two ways you're likely to die in this place. Curse, well, up until the mushrooms. Curse from these jerk faces, or falling damage. So yeah, let's actually run Havels. There's still a few of them. Give us the curse res. Which, does Golems even have any curse res? No, didn't think so. We'll just run Havels for a bit then. Big Rock Man again. Like, Havel's armor isn't terrible looking, and it is kind of iconic, I guess. I prefer the look of Golem armor, and it's not that iconic. It's not like the Elite Knight set or Solaire's set, where you recognize that shit. Even if you've never played the game, you probably recognize that shit. Alright, where's the ladder again? There's a ladder somewhere around here. Is that it? That's it. I'm just going to go up briefly to show off the little bump that tends to give problems. Little bump that could, if you will. It's one of, I think, 2 routes I can think of in the game. There might be more that I'm just not coming to mind, but the 2 that I remember where it's just really weird ground that you should be able to run up, and sometimes you can, but a lot of the times you just slide off. At least this one you won't fall to your death. It's the same way the one in Blighttown tends to do, but yeah, it's here. Look at this bullshit. Like, seriously? How did this make it not only into the final product in the first place, but even into the bloody remastered? Like, come on. And I say you're not likely to fall. You totally can. If you're struggling against this and, whoops, went too far to the left. Oh, guess I'm just dead. Like I might be about to. Could still totally die. But no, and it is possible to get up this. I don't know what exactly does it. I usually just flail against it until it works if I have to, which we don't, so we're just going to go down again, but like, look at that. That's bullshit. That should never have made it into a final game. And as previously said, how did the remastered even just overlook that? That little bit there has been something that's bothered me since DS1's original from the beginning. And maybe it is because it's just an extra area that most people don't even find. So it slipped out, well, most people wouldn't find naturally, since this game is Dark Souls being what it is. Most people have probably found it at least online, if nothing else. And if not most, then a sizable number. So it's probably not actually that unknown. But it is still just an optional area in a little hidden place that's not even got all that much important in it. It's really just the Crystal Lizards. Fuck off. Jeez, that was a lot of curse. I'm glad I have Havels. Yeah, these guys drop Eyes of Death, by the way. Give some okay souls, too. But unless you're farming for, Gravelord Nito's Covenant, then Eyes of Death aren't going to be very useful to you. And there's a way better place to get souls. And honestly, I don't know if these guys are strictly speaking worse than farming in the depths for Eyes of Death, but I feel like the depths is probably a better spot, because there's a lot more of them. I don't know if the drop rate changes or not, but I can't imagine it would change that much. And the depths is just a lot easier to get down to where they are without potentially just fucking dying from a fall. Also, most of the items you see just on branches or whatever, they're upgrade materials. Various kinds of chunks. And if you are actually going for a fire weapon or whatever, then this is actually a pretty nice place, because these are very easy to get chunks. I might actually try and get that. Problem with this bitch here is that rolling is doesn't quite work. And ow. Not gonna bother. You try and roll and you just end up... Oh, fuck off. You just end up sliding into the mushroom that's above it. There's a way to do it. I'm not gonna bother. Also, where the fuck? This is not the situation you want to be in. You like to take these things a bit more one at a time, if at all possible. But sometimes this is just how it be. Zweihander still kicks ass, so we're fine. But if you come here earlier in the game with a weapon that doesn't stagger the hell out of them with basically every attack, you might be in trouble here. Little mushroom boys can be pretty annoying and give you some staggering, and big mushroom boys hit like goddamn trucks still. Man, the little mushrooms barely even give any souls. Still not sure what these mushroom things are exactly even supposed to be. I mean, obviously they're mushroom people, and we'll meet another one in the DLC, but where they come from, why they're here, who fucking knows? I also don't actually recommend coming down here until you have bonfire warping, unless you just, like, I don't know, really want to be a dragon or something. Because it's just a pain to get back if you don't have the ability to warp. And as you can see, there's some onions down there. We'll get to them in a second. And there's not all that much down past the middle section of the Great Hollow where all the crystal lizards pretty much are above that part with the basilisks. They're honestly pretty much all in the upper levels. And yeah, there's another Hydra there. There's really not that much down here, though. It's very, very nice to look at. We'll get there in a second, but it's arguably also a bit unfinished. It's kind of barren. Great music, though.
My father, all hollow now. He's been subdued. We will cause no more trouble. It's finally over. I will return to Catherine. You assisted us both greatly. I can hardly return the favor, but please accept this. It's of no use to me now. Oh, Father. Dear Father.
In taking away his pride, his sense of self-reliance, whatever else, as you helped him, his sense of being a strong, independent adventurer who don't need no partner, or whatever he thought. But in helping him, essentially, you slowly took away his self-assurance, his pride, and his reason to live. Adventuring was his life. And with that gone, he had nothing left. His wife was dead. While he still has a daughter, I guess adventuring to him was perhaps more important, but whatever it is, he gave up hope. He lost his will to live. He went fully hollow. And his daughter seemingly was forced to put him down for a final time. And this is the thing where if you just do what he does down in Lost Izalith, if you just let him go and fight all the Chaos Eaters, he probably dies. And even if he doesn't, he gets quite low. And his quest line ends there. You don't see him again, but he is undead. Death is not, strictly speaking, the end. He probably just goes off back to adventuring somewhere else. But in even taking away and saving him and his in his bit of self-sacrifice when he decides to repay you. You put the final nail, well, maybe not the final nail in the coffin. The final nail in the coffin seems to have been his wife's last words. Whether that be due to the fact she was dead or whatever else. But whatever the case may be, that's the end of Siegmeyer. Now let's go fight a Hydra. This one is, honestly, this Hydra is a bit of a... Although it's much stronger than the one in the Darkroot Basin, you can at least get to it, close to it a lot easier without it spitting water all over you. But as you can see, it's a lot stronger, seeing as we're not insta-killing its head with every attack. Oh, that was a bit low on stamina there. And sometimes, oh yeah, as you can see, sometimes the head ends up in the sand. That is one thing. The hilly terrain can be a bit of a pain. Sometimes it'll just miss us completely with its attack. Like that. Oh, come on. It can be a bit of a pain to hit is the only thing, though. And that's true with the other one. Plus, the other one had the problem of, you'd often have times where maybe one head would be remaining, and it would do an attack that's just really far off from where you actually are. So you'd have to run after the head in water. You wouldn't catch up, probably. And then attack in whatever 20 feet off again. You'd go after it again, miss entirely again, and it's just... it's a pain in the ass. Now, because the Zwei hits so hard in each hit, we kill it fast enough before it gets down to, like, a couple heads that we don't have to worry about that. As you can see, in this case also the fact that the head doesn't die in one hit helps us quite a bit, because it means more heads to hit. I'd still just... No, that was amazing. I still am not a biggest fan of the Hydra fights. They're cool at first. It's like, oh, it's big. Hydra, it's huge. It's powerful. This big old dragon is amazing. Isn't it cool? It's like, at first, yeah, it's pretty cool. And it's like, wow, I get to this big epic fight. And then you fight it. And it's like, oh, that was kind of shit. That kind of sucked. Well then. But whatever, that's the Hydra. It's the only other Hydra in the game. Now, as we walk, since we're not going to have all that much else to do, let's talk about the Hollow. The Hollow is very interesting. So, if you think about it for more than about 2 seconds, which is all it should really take, what the hell is this? Ash Lake. Where the hell are we? What the fuck is this? We were in Blighttown, which was solid ground or seemingly some solid ground near, like, the bottom of the world. Now, you can go a bit farther into the Demon Ruins, and down from there into Lost Isles, but there's lava everywhere, which probably is from the Flame of Chaos and Demons, but feels like it's pretty far underground. The fact that they're having just lava even is like... It's maybe not supposed to be quite the core of the Earth, but it gives off that feeling at the very least. But then we're here. Look at this shit. Look up. We came down through that tree. We were on solid ground. We come down through tree. We're here. That does not look like ground to me. That looks like sky. Where are we? This is just... Everywhere you look, it's just sand and arch trees. And the skull of... who knows what. A dragon? Who fucking knows? And then below us, just water. Pitch black water. Seemingly going down endlessly. Is it the abyss? Probably not. What is it? What is this place? What is beneath us? What is above us? What does it mean? Because clearly this is significant. This is insane. Are we in another dimension? Probably not. All we did was walk through a tree. This seems to suggest that the world is like this weird something propped up upon these great stone arch trees. Which also something I think has been pointed out is that they get less stone and more plant-like as you go up. Not sure about, but there seems to be some sense of these were the great stone arch trees, but there's a plant-likeness to them now. It's hard to see some in the distance, but there's still a stoniness if you look around. But this seems to be the world of great gray stone arch trees and everlasting dragons talked about in the beginning. Also, fuck this bit, by the way. The camera is the fuckiest, and look at this. Just look at that. We honestly might die. And you're not helping. This bit especially, the camera walks super slow. The camera has a high chance of fucking you if you're not careful there. Alright, we'll clear out this little bit before going back for the little item we have missed. Fuck you. Don't want to get cursed. Hello, Mr. Mushroom. Here to herald the new age, but yes. We are in the world we seem to have saw in the beginning cutscene, where the everlasting dragons were. What exactly the rest of the world we knew up to now above us is, whether it was around forever, whether it was created by something, who fucking knows? I don't know if Miyazaki knows. I remember hearing, and who knows, I can't say for sure if this is right, but supposedly, at least, Miyazaki got some inspiration for Dark Souls in this method of storytelling when he was reading fantasy novels in English. Now, it was a language he does not speak fluently, and he frequently just did not understand everything. He'd be reading a story that had bits of it that to him, were effectively missing. And not, like, systematically removed, just random bits he did not have any way to understand. And and you can sort of see how that influenced it, where Dark Souls, there's a lot that's just unclear. There's no answers on a lot of it. You can speculate, there are clues. There seems to be, you get the feeling that there seemed to be some kind of coherent whole, that there is an answer to it. But that answer is not available to you. It's not in the game. You're left with nothing but speculation and wonder. And I think Ash Lake sort of, shows that off the best. It's very out of the way, little place, but it's very seemingly has a lot of significance, and yet also kind of doesn't. It leaves a bunch of questions, and it seems to suggest answers, except there are none. In any case, there's only one thing even left to find in it. And also, once again, let's just appreciate the music and the visuals, because this place truly is stunning. Shame it's so unfinished. here we are. Stone Dragon. As it is called, Everlasting Dragon. We're just going to enter the Covenant. I think we take the Covenant penalty to our Chaos Servant, but we don't need that anymore. We get something that turns our head into a dragon head, and the Dragon Eye, which leaves a... Dragon Covenant is about duels. And I'll even take a look at the Dragon Eye. Actually, it's probably near the top, isn't it? Knew it. Find a player who's acquired a dragon scale and invade that player's world to pillage it. An art of the transcendent apostles who pray to the ancient dragons. To be alive is to be vulnerable, and the fiery gods are no exception. The apostles seek another plane of existence which transcends life. Dragon Headstone. Stone imbued with the power of the dragons. Right of apostles of the ancient dragons. Gain head of dragon. Emit dragon breath. Fragments. Not really, but kind of. Whatever. Dragon apostles seek transcendence of life itself, attainable by transformation into an ancient dragon. This right is only one step, but it cannot be reversed until death. So yes, when you turn your head into a dragon, you can't take it off until then. Yeah, dragon, you go invade someone who has a dragon scale, you duel them to the death, you take the scale, you give it to this bitch. You attempt to become a dragon. Because, as I said, or as the item said, even the gods are not immune to death. Even Nito, with the soul of death, first of the dead, well, we killed him, so he's dead. He already was, he's even more so now. The dragons go beyond that. Because seemingly because of their stone scales, they're immune to change, life, and time. They're not part of it. There's no cycle of life and death with them, they just are. They are stone. Seath, who for some reason... And it's a little weird if you think about it too far, because like, okay, where'd they come from? Why did Seath just have none? How does that work with Seath? And apparently when you peel away their scales, it stops working? What's with that? But it's not important. This isn't about... Like I said, this is a game that's sort of based on a sense of not having all the information. And honestly, the opening cutscene, as I mentioned at the start, who knows how much is even true? It's a creation myth. Who can say if it's even meant to be taken literally? But yet, here we have a stone dragon from the beginning of time. One who seemingly was not killed or was not destroyed by the gods. One with stone scales intact. And by the way, you can hit this guy. Let me go around back. See his tail? You can cut that shit off. I did not mean to pray to him. You can damage him. But you can't kill him. His HP bar went down, but he does not die, even when it hits 0. He is immortal. Seath, as we know, also sought immortality. He got that weird crystal that apparently the ancient dragons had somehow, or I don't know. He got some weird crystal that seemingly came from ancient dragons or something, and the special crystal made him immortal, and it's not clear and it's not important. Seath sought immortality like these because he did not have scales. But even he, with his crystal, once it was destroyed, loses immortality. The dragons, as long as their scales are still intact, they do not have that. They are truly immortal. Ned Parrish, I think, is the closest. So yes, with that, time for the DLC. And then Pleen Plon. Did I kindle this to 20? Yeah. So DLC is pretty fun. I'm excited for this. I'm not... Well... How to put this? I'm not sure I'd say that the DLC bosses are, like, all the best in the game. I like Artorias' fight as much as the next person. Well, maybe not quite as much, but I like it. It's a good fight. It's not, like, the best fight in the game, but it's pretty damn good. Kalameet, I honestly like Kalameet a lot, although I think the fight itself is not the best part of it. It's fine. I just like the design of the boss and some of the stuff surrounding it. The fight itself is, it's okay. It's good. I don't think it's bad. I think it's better than, like, say, the Gaping Dragon. But I also think the Gaping Dragon's design and the atmosphere of just the arena and everything is top-notch. Manus is a little bullshit. I like Manus' fight well enough. I think try something. It's a little Bloodborne-y. For this big, fast, flaily beast thing. It's... I mean, I can't say for sure. It feels faster and more frenetic than a lot of the... pretty much any other boss in the game. So there is that. I don't know. I think the fight's just a bit bullshit is all. Not even it's not even that it's hard. I think hard is good, and if you're gonna have, if you want this big DLC boss against what might be the first human, at the furtive pygmy or some transformed or something, whatever exactly it is, who can say? But clearly Manus is this big deal, the primeval man. So if you want your big fight against Primeval Man, cool. It should be hard, probably. It's just that... It's bullshit, really. We'll see there, but... It just feels a little out of place, a bit too fast. And some of its attacks are kind of funky to dodge. He does a shitload of damage. He has a ton of HP. And we're still going to be able to cheese him to some degree, but I'm not even saying I want him to be super cheesed and super cheesable. It's just it feels raw. It feels a little bullshit is what I think what it comes down to. And that hasn't changed no matter what. Also, if we just take a look at this thing is fucking cool. Let's go Golem again for a little bit. We'll swap to Smoes when it's time for the big shit, but... Actually, no, let's go Giants. Did I buy the Giant stuff? Eyes. See, this is... Even the design is kind of Bloodborne-y. I don't remember if they were working on Bloodborne by the time they made this DLC or not. They probably were. In fact, I would just, without actually knowing, I would say pretty fucking likely they were. I think, whether they were or not, there's a certain amount of Bloodborne that comes through to it, so... Giants would be... where? Guess I didn't buy it. Oh well. I will say, if you have fully upgraded Giants, you're definitely going to want it. Most of the jerks we'll be fighting here do quite a bit of physical damage. Oh yeah, also fuck this fight. This fight is stupid. We'll go for the tail, I guess. Ow. Yeah, this is another Bloodborne-y type fight, where it's this big, flaily beast thing. I missed. I probably should have just gone full heavy, high physical defense armor. This Oh well, it's not the end of the world if we die. And we'll get his tail off. Oh, fuck off. He's just so fucking thrashy. I don't feel like thrashy works really well in Bloodborne. It doesn't seem to work so well in Dark Souls, if you ask me. I just don't think it fits the rest of the game that well. This is a slow, deliberate game. This is not big thrashy Beast Boy fight game. And also, you can see he just sometimes like, oh, I'm just gonna jump away. I'm gonna dodge back, and we already know how I feel about that. Like, look at that! Fuck off! The way big thrash fights are supposed to work, and the way they work in, say, Bloodborne, is you dodge the boss's attack, you hit back. But as you can see, I dodged the boss's attack, I hit back, and it dodges my attack. That's not how this is supposed to work. And look at that, it wasn't even that hard. It's just... it's stupid. And also, what even is this thing? It's not in the lore anywhere. There's no item description saying, oh yeah, they had this weird chimera thing in Ulasil. It was guarded in Sanctuary. Totally. It's like, no, it's just there. And if we come back later, there's going to be 2. Like, what the fuck? No, I'm not a fan. Not one bit. We also could have just used Havel's Great Shield and blocked the shit out of stuff, but we'll save that for later.
Well, look at this one. From what faraway age hast thou come? Thy scent is very human indeed, but not intolerable. Ah, Princess Dusk's savior. Thine aura is precisely as she described. I thank thee deeply for rescuing Her Highness, but Princess Dusk is here no longer, snatched away by that horrifying primeval human. And so I must ask, couldst thou once more play the savior?
Sure.
Thank you. I am Elizabeth, guardian of this sanctuary, something of a godmother to Princess Dusk. I shall assist thee to my utmost, for I am one with the sorceries of Ulasil.
That's an interesting claim to make. And yeah, she sells Ulasil sorceries if you didn't get them from Dusk already. Also repair powder and pine resin.
Thou shalt see further on. An abyss was begat of the ancient beast, and threatens to swallow the whole of Ulasil. Knight Artorius came to stop this, but such a hero has nary a murmur of dark. Without doubt he will be swallowed by the abyss, overcome by its utter blackness. Indeed, the abyss may be unstoppable. Still, I have faith that Princess Dusk may be rescued yet. May the flames guide thee.
So that's Elizabeth, guardian. Old, kinda blindish, but can see aura, I guess. Mushroom of the Wall. Who presides over this little sanctuary. By the way, we're just gonna kindle this because we have the humanity. And there's not a lot of bonfires you need to kindle in this, so... use one of these. We have excess humanity, honestly. And there's a massive humanity farm in the DLC. Anyways, regardless. Elizabeth. Weird Mushroom of the Wall. She does a few interesting things. And she's the one setting up the DLC. So Knight Artorius. Knight of Legends, who we'll already have known a little bit from... Actually, I don't think we haven't looked at the Abyss Covenant, so... But he made a covenant with creatures of... with strange creatures of the Abyss or something. Possibly, at least it's theorized, that the covenant was with primordial serpents, Koth or maybe Frampt, or whatever it is. Primordial serpents are also very unclear in what the fuck they even are. Where's our Covenant of Artorius? This ring symbolizes Knight Artorius' covenant with the beasts of the Abyss. It's where, like Artorius himself, can traverse the Abyss. So Artorius made covenant with the beasts of the Abyss to be able to traverse the Abyss. And supposedly he was the one who drove back the Abyss when it surfaced at Ulasil. But, as Elizabeth said, Artorius, who is a god, soul of light, he doesn't have... There's no dark in him. He will not be able to resist the Abyss. We, being human, have dark in us. We are... The humanity is the dark soul. We'll be able to deal with the Abyss. At least, supposedly. I'll leave off for the moment. But it is interesting that the histories then seem to be a bit wrong, don't they? If Artorias was not actually the one who overcame the Abyss, who was? Spoiler alert, it was us. But we'll see. And it's not that big. It's not like, oh, who was it? It's not actually that big of a mystery. But there's sort of an interesting thing in that to defeat the Abyss, to resist it... I'm being a little cocky here. Yeah, to resist and defeat the Abyss, you need to have a bit of it in yourself. Also, can we point out this guy's sort of attacks there, and we'll see a little more, but he has that slam attack. When we stayed near him, he followed up with this big explosion as he pulled his axe out of the ground. When we weren't near, when we backed off from him, he waited a minute, and then instead of doing the follow-up, just stopped. I missed. Yay me. Like that. Bit too slow. And now he's going to do the whoosh. I think this was the first time when enemies were like that, where their attacks differed depending on your reaction in this series. Maybe I'm wrong. It's the first time I can think of. So when I got here, I was like, whoa. How the fuck do I deal with that? And eventually got the hang of it, but... At the time, little newbie old me was struggling quite a bit with these guys. And they were pretty tough, not gonna lie. Oh wow, that did no damage. I wonder if they're resistant to stab. They are big stone things. Also, you may or may not have noticed some similarities in this place with other areas. If you haven't, I recommend taking a look, because you should. Ow. Fuck you. Bunch of trees. So you can get a good look of little glowy plant things that maybe kind of resemble items. Pools of water. Big stone jerks with big stone axes. Although before I think it was swords. This is Darkroot. And down there, if I am not significantly mistaken, is where we fought the Sonic Cats. And the door to the sanctuary, door we came from, if we take a look backwards, should be very recognizable. That's where we fought Seath. There's a bridge over it. Across from there is the tower. Oh, fuck off. Where Alvina was. And outside of that, the exit into the basin. This is Darkroot Garden. This is Darkroot Garden of the past. And these, the gardeners, scarecrowy gardener things, got turned into the weird bush things with time. They got overgrown and became weird vine flaily bush things. Yeah, fuck you. Fuck you! Do you speak English? Fuck you! Your ambush is very obvious. What is not obvious is getting staggered to shit because you fell on me. Like, these things cannot weigh enough to stagger you that hard from falling on you, when you can tank an axe from one of these jerks to the face and not even flinch. Come on, game. Anyways, come at me. Honestly, these guys are best the gardeners especially are best handled. Just shield, block their attack, retaliate. Wonder if I could kill them. Yeah, I could kill them in a 1-2. Oh well. 1-2 of power attacks. And as you can see, those guys are honestly... Although I at first approach them in the fight by just doing that block their attack, retaliate strategy. When you do have this vibe like this, it's a lot easier to just back up than hit. Attacks can be dodged pretty easily just by backing up a bit. which is true of quite a bit in this game. Anyways, let's say hi to Calamite here. It's quite the entrance. We can't actually damage him, though. It's a bit sad, really. He shows up to stare at us, and then fucks off. We'll be seeing him again later, though. Just keep this little bit where we saw him in mind. Let's take a look over there. Keep that little area that he flew off to in mind. Yeah, spoiler alert if you didn't know, that's his boss arena. Which is kind of cool. Fuck. Die. Yeah, I know I said before, but if you do have the Giant's armor... I hear you. Where are you? If you do have the Giant's armor, I would recommend, and it's fully upgraded, I would recommend running this for this part. Or just this whole DLC borderline. You can make an argument for Havels against Manus, because he does have magic attacks, and if you're not the best at reacting and dealing with those using the pendant, which we'll get to eventually, then you're probably better off just running Havels to deal with the damage of them, but everything else we're going to be fighting is primarily going to be physical damage. Calamite has a fire breath attack that I don't actually know if it does fire magic, but if you get hit by that, you probably messed up. Which will happen sometimes. But even then, even with giants, it won't kill you. It's manageable. I hear you. Must be the guy down here. Also, spooky. Big ol' chasm of the abyss shit. You can even hear something, sort of a rumble. You can see that bits of here seem to have been corrupted or something by it. It's all quite interesting, I suppose. But in the usual Dark Souls, it's like, well, what does it mean? Who knows. The abyss is spooky, I guess. I can't think of any other time when you can see, like, mists coming out of it, but it has been already established that the dark has a very physical presence. Dark is heavy and physical. So I guess maybe it makes sense to have this sort of stony, or this sort of ooze corruption, this weird smog coming off of it, if it is kind of a physical entity, but I think it's just here for, look, the abyss, kind of thing. Am I gonna bounce? I hit it anyways. Bunch of jerks. Fuck you. Fuck you. Back up and heal. Attack me. Ow. I don't have stamina to dodge that. Oh well. We'll have to be a bit careful here. There are edges to watch out for. Didn't try it when I was behind him. That's probably a way to deal with them as well, then. Just dodge behind and hit, but they're not that hard to deal with as is, so it's not like a big deal. Anyways, shortcut. We'll go back from some other stuff in a minute. We're just going to open the shortcut first. And take a peek at the boss. Or rather, the arena. Big ol' Coliseum. Let's say hi to this guy. I like this guy.
Let me guess. Snatched by a shadowy limb and dragged off to the past?
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Exactly what happened to me. We are both strangers in this strange land. But at least now there are two of us.
God, I love his voice. He sells shit. It's overpriced. But, I mean, he sells it, so that's something. Look how fucking expensive humanity is. No thank you. Yeah, he overprices all his crap.
Did you happen across Knight Artorias? The legendary Abyss Walker from the old tales? Well, if you haven't, it's just as well. He's a colorless sort, if you ask me. So, what did that giant mushroom make you do? Not that I care. It's none of my business. I've little to talk about, really. Oh, you know me. What do I know?
I could listen to him all day.
So long.
This is the marvelous Chester. He was also snatched up from somewhere by a shadowy limb and dragged to the past. Presumably, he also found a part of a broken pendant or something, which Manus seems to value. And of note, he looks kind of Bloodborne, doesn't he? You can really see the influence. And here we have... da-da-da... Whee! It's another shortcut. Yes, this is a little bridge to where Alvina was. A little bit that connected those parts. That's here. Unless I have my geography horrifically wrong, but I do not think I do. And speaking of geography, not entirely sure, but I think where we found the wolf ring would have been somewhere in that direction. If that means anything, who can say? But that was Artorias' ring. And we will be fighting Artorias in that general direction. Yeah, it's a fun little place, though. Now, I think you could reasonably ask, yeah, I got this. I think you could reasonably ask, how the fuck did everything change so much? What is the time frame between these, or now and the present? And the answer is, who fucking knows? Honestly, I think Miyazaki might have had an idea in his head, and it was probably stupid and wrong, so we're gonna ignore it. I have no idea how long this has been. But clearly, there has been a very large duration of time between now, or I should say, this past we are in and the present we came from, for stuff to have changed this much. Also, where the fuck did the stone connecting this shit come from? Obviously it's broken, so that means after this place gets swallowed by the abyss, the landscape changes a fair amount, and then someone rebuilds this shit, and then a bunch of other stuff crumbles, but that doesn't. I don't know, it seems a bit weird to me, that's all. Also, the weird gardener constructs, gain Vine Whip, and become plant monsters. I guess that's not the weirdest, but... Yeah, I heard you. Fuck off. This is partly why we kindle, so we can just face tank. Honestly, kindling bonfires makes things a lot easier. A sizable chunk of the challenge in DS1 comes from, or you could argue is supposed to come from, just your ability to get to the fight with enough heals intact to take it. The boss fight, that is. Most of the bosses themselves are very clearly not all that difficult. I don't think they were designed to be that difficult either. Designed to be moderately challenging, perhaps. But I think a good part of the challenge and the difficulty of Dark Souls was supposed to be the run up to the boss, as much as the boss itself. Something I feel like got a bit abandoned in later games. For better or for worse, depending on your opinion. Very clearly in, like, Sekiro, it's not the case. Sekiro, the challenge is all the bosses. Is only the boss, and all the boss. There is no run-up to it, almost any of the bosses. Maybe some mini-bosses, there's a bit of that, but the bosses themselves, you're there instantly. And honestly, the levels are not that hard. Like, the mini-bosses can be a little challenging, but the stuff up to there? Psh, hell no. Shit's fucking easy as hell. Mainly because stealth is OP as... Well, I feel like I'm overusing as hell, or as shit, or as fuck, but I don't know how else to put it. It's real easy. The bits connecting stuff in Sekiro when there's not a mini-boss or a boss, you just run around backstabbing everyone. And don't get me wrong, it's hella fun. I love that. It feels amazing to actually pull it off. And it's the kind of thing where you can actually put a fair amount of skill into it. You can get by without it. But if you know the game, and you're good at it, and there's a lot of room to show your skill, and it feels even better. Just going around, like, straight up sprinting around, stealth killing chains of enemies in rapid succession is one of the most exhilarating feelings I've had in gaming. So I'm not even knocking it. I think it's amazing. But it's not hard. It's really not hard. And most of the time I see someone struggling with segments between bosses and mini-bosses in Sekiro, I'm like, you're just not using stealth well. You're not playing like a shinobi. Play like a damn ninja, not whatever you're doing. Fuck off. Die. Let's see who hits first. It's gonna be you. But I can tank it and you can't, so get wrecked. A vague feeling I might have missed something. Maybe not. Let's see if we have full Guardian stuff. That'll be the deciding factor. Eep. Also, as you notice, Guardian Helm, Stone Helm, little similar. Little bit. Not super similar, but you know. Also, as you might also notice, Guardian Helm is pretty buff. If you compare it to Havel's, it's honestly, like, there's better magic defense in the Helm. There's close poise, similar weight, better physical, less fire, more lightning. It's a good armor set. Now the armor piece, Havel's, is better physical there. So you can mix and match to some degree on these. Armor piece is definitely better poise on the Havel's, but it weighs quite a bit more, so there's some trade-off. We're going to go full Guardians for just a little bit. Compare the gloves. I actually like Havel's gloves just visually, by the way. I might decide to wear them just because some of the individual pieces, there's some changes, but yeah, the legs, pretty similar. Golem actually pretty good at physical defense, doesn't it? Yeah, this little clawed feet. Well, show off the gauntlets. I like Havel's more. I just like the chains wrapped around this big fucking gauntlet thing look. So let's run this for the moment. We can still roll. Of course we can. It's lighter than Havel's, and we can roll in Havel's. We'll fight Artorias with this, I guess. So yeah, I think I got everything of importance, at least if I have a full Guardian set. So let's go on. I will say I'll be fighting Kalameet and Smough. Kalameet is actually a little scary. I think the fight is easy, but it's also, and I'll hopefully be able to show that off, but it is a fight where I've been known to make mistakes. And it is a fight where you can die pretty quickly if you do make mistakes. The boss is just chaining attacks on you. Kalameet is very aggressive. Kalameet attacks fairly frequently. Kalameet's attacks are fairly strong and can be surprisingly fast and wide-reaching. So, but it's not that bad. Anyways, the way we're going to approach Artorias, and this, our Estus isn't the best for this, so we'll see how we do. We're not going to be doing a lot of blocking. We're not going to be doing a lot of dodging. We're going to trade with him, mostly. We'll dodge where it seems appropriate and where I feel like I can dodge easily enough. But for a lot of this, I intend to just trade with the boss. I'm going to get hit, and I'm going to hit back. And if I do it right, as you'll see, the boss becomes an absolute chump. This works way better with full giants fully upgraded. You just hardcore trade with him and he does nothing to you. Unless you let him power up. Yeah, there's that. I feel like this is a cool cutscene, but I feel like the killing the thing off is a bit preemptive. It doesn't even give you time to look at what he stabs before he stabs it. And see, oh, there's spooky abyssness coming. It's taking control of him. Again, maybe. He's been corrupted. Also, his arm is broke as hell. Anime flip. He's gonna power up. You can't do that around me, bitch. Alright, he staggered a bit. We're gonna heal up. We're gonna trade. We're gonna laugh in his face. Oh, do that again. I dare you. Do it again. We're gonna observe his attacks. We're gonna laugh at his pathetic efforts to do anything to us. Do your little backhand gunk shot, man. Fine, we'll just kill you. Bye, bitch. Artorias is a difficult fight, guys. He is if you let him power up. Artorias can get quite powerful. Can do a shit ton of damage and becomes very scary if he's allowed to power up. But as you can see, a running attack from this Zweihander puts an end to that instantly, so... that's that. Soul of Artorias. And it says, Victim of the Abyss. Soul of Lord Gwyn's Knight Artorias, who was consumed by the Abyss. The legend that Artorias repelled the Abyss only told half of the story. It seems that he was defeated, and his honor preserved by some unsung hero, who is the true victor over the Abyss. Yes, we're cool. And Soul is dark and corrupted and spooky. Now, Gwyn's 4 knights, one of which was Artorias. It was Artorias, Go, who we'll meet, Kieran, who we'll meet, and Ornstein, who we've already met. Also, if we were online, we would be getting PvP'd to shit right about now. Oolacile, this particular part of Oolacile especially, is like the PvP hotspot. And because it's an NPC Phantom, we especially don't want that to happen. Also, Kindle. If there's... so I guess, I don't remember if I said this, but yes. When I said before, there's like 2 bonfires, I think, that should be kindled to 20 in the whole game. Blighttown just... honestly, you don't even need Blighttown. Blighttown you can get by at 10 to 5, no problem. Ornstein and Smo, though, if you're at all worried about that fight, because it can be difficult. But then, I would include this in that, even more so. I think if there was one bonfire, including the or if you include the DLC, and you want to choose only one bonfire you can kindle to 20, this or ONS. Depending on what you end up being better at, which you're not going to know, so... and obviously, you can do more than one, but... anyways, we're going to head over here for a moment. We got a Purple Coward's Crystal. This is the Battle of Stoicism. It is nothing but PvP, and no one ever used it, and is completely worthless to us. We're going to spend no more time on it. Bye-bye, Battle of Stoicism Gazebo. We'll go up there. Let's just go up here now. Head to the upper parts of this Coliseum. Kind of convenient. We just happened to fight this legendary knight in a big anime battle in the Coliseum, but whatever. I think Dark Souls definitely got a bit too anime by DS3, and this was the beginning of it, but for the moment at least, it's cool. I like Artorias. I like his flippy anime bullshit. I think it's fun. I think it's cool. But I will agree, by DS3 it got a bit too much, and yes. It's locked! Oh noes. What are we gonna do? Also, the reason this Bonfire of All should be kindled to max is because well, the hardest boss, I would argue, Manus, is at this you will be using this bonfire to fight. And Kalameet, who some people at least think is a very hard boss, it comes from this bonfire as well. So, yes, we use this. Now, we're going to go Havels for this. Or at the very least, we're going to go Magic Defensive. Which tends to be Havels. Although Guardian in some cases also comparable. Actually, Guardian's pretty good against Magic. I knew it was, but I didn't realize just how good in some cases. We look weird. But anyways, yes. This place, there'll be a bit of the old magic use from time to time. And it's a magical and physical combination, but by far the scariest part, or the scariest enemies here, are the magic-based ones. These losers are not that scary. Don't get me wrong, they can hurt. They can hurt a lot. But they're not that scary. These are the people of Oolacile, corrupted by the Abyss, and turned into freakish, bloat-headed things. They're pretty vulnerable to blocking. They're much more vulnerable, if you, in my opinion at least, to just fucking murdering. Plonk. Aw, not 666. Darn. Don't fall down there. Now, if we were online, we would be rushing through this as fast as we could before we get invaded, because we want to fight the NPC invader, who we'll get to quite shortly. First, you have to deal with this jerk. This is the bloat-headed shaman, or sorcerer, or whatever it is. They have two attacks. The one you just saw, which can hurt, but is fairly dodgeable. And one which we'll probably see eventually, a shotgun, really fast-firing magic attack that if you get hit at close range is pretty much death. We survive it, most characters can. It's nasty. We'll deal with this guy quickly, because we're getting invaded from behind. Marvelous Chester. And look at him. He's a tricky sort. He's got his crossbow, he's got his throwing knives. Give me the old kick. Give me the kick. It's got a spin kick. He's a cool dude, maybe. Yeah, you can see, his spin kick's actually pretty tough. He can tank through your attacks doing it. It always staggers you. But it doesn't do that much damage to us, unfortunately. We're pretty tank, and you're not. Get fucked, dude. R.I.P. dude. You have a cool voice, but you're kind of an asshole, and you suck. Why'd I do that? I mean, I know why we're coming this way, but I didn't need to actually go out through there. Oh well. Now this, I mean, it's not the most hidden little bit, but obviously this area is not the most spottable. The easiest to spot. It's a bit hidden. And if you want hidden, well, I got something for you. Let there be light. What does that mean? Yes, there is a wall that gets hidden when you shine shit on it. Alright, it's hidden, and then it opens if you shine shit on it. You get from it the silver pendant. What does this do? Silver pendant engraved with the crest of Artorias, one of the ancient treasures of Anor Londo. Presented to Artorias for facing the Abyss. Effectively deflects the Dark of the Abyss, especially in its magic forms. This blocks dark magic on use. You put it on your toolbar, and you go, and it grants a very short-lived shield that blocks magic. A bit of a cast time, which can be a bit of a problem, but regardless, yes, it is a dark magic shield. Was it most... Fuck off. I was too far away from there. This is not. Was it most useful for? Blocking the otherwise unblockable and kind of well, not unblockable. The otherwise difficult to block and largely undodgeable dark magic of the boss of this. And it's that hidden. It is borderline necessary for the fight. You can get by without it. I've done it before. I might do it this time. but it's a lot tougher without it. So it's borderline a necessity for the fight, and it's hidden as fuck. Because Dark Souls is just kind of evil like that. I fail to remember what this is for outside of a hiding spot. Ow! Stop casting so much. I've been taking too much of these. I need to get back and get my poise up. I'm not the best at dealing with these sorcerers. They're honestly best dodged, because they're pretty hard to block. They just chew through your block. They do have a magic attack. They also have a poison cloud, which I expect we'll see at some point, but for the moment, not. And what's this? A Tresh. Some of them were already opened. That's very mean. Dark Orb. Let's read this just briefly. We don't read a lot of spell descriptions, but I think we should at least read some of the dark magic, because they're interesting. Abyss sorcery discovered by an Ulasil sorcerer on the brink of madness. Fire giant dark orb. In contrast to standard sorceries, Abyss sorceries are weighty and inflict physical damage. Perhaps human souls, because of their humanity, produce sorceries with more tangible presence. So yes. A sorcerer of Ulasil, corrupted by the Abyss and on the verge of madness, created the Dark Orb. Now, most sorcery uses the power of the soul. How exactly that works, don't fucking ask me. But it's the soul-based magic. Like Logan's magic is called Soul Spear. The special magic he invented. It's magic based on the soul. Ulasil sorceries were weird little approximation things. You kind of felt it out. They did cool little stuff. Vinheim sorceries were just super focused, damaging, aggressive spells. Dark magic is more along the lines of the Vinheim stuff, where it's specific. Although, no comment on how it's actually cast, since, I mean, we're not in-game, we're not actually casting it, but... It, however, being still based on soul, based it off of the dark human soul. Which is much, as I said, it is weighty. It has a physical presence. Dark magic is heavy. So I think another one will say, well, maybe that one's, I don't know. But I think another one will say it can be used to bat away pretty much any shield. It is this heavy, powerful, physical force. Because, as I've stated multiple times now, I think, dark, for whatever reason in this game, is physicality. Well, I shouldn't say for whatever reason. There is a reason. It's thematic. But just remember, dark is physicality. Light is more of this... I want to say airy-fairy, but that doesn't feel quite right. Light is sort of... almost artsy, almost airy-fairy, but it's a bit different. Let's just put it that way. Light does not have the same weight, physicality. Light is almost upper class. It's like, think of the gods. They have this big, glowy, fancy city. They're very upper class. Their art, they have a lot of cool art. Maybe a little ethereal in some ways. Fancy, we'll just say. Dark is not. Dark is this weighty, almost gross sometimes, heavy, physical art. And I wouldn't say lower class specifically, because I don't think this is about... has that sort of feel to it. It's not pretty. It's strong, as clearly seen by this, but it's not very pretty. It has weight, and it is real, but it's not very pretty. However, the Age of Dark is what's coming. As the Age of Light fades, the Age of Dark begins. Now, Ulasil was taken over by the Abyss, and the Abyss seems to be, at the very least, how it's related to the Dark is not clear, but it is the Dark to some degree. A big sea of dark, the manifestation of dark, something born from the Age of Dark, something born from primeval man's grief, maybe, honestly, spawned from Manus' anguish, or whatever the heck. Whatever it is, The Abyss is very nasty, seemingly. It corrupt these people and turn them into weird bloat-headed monster things. Is that what the Age of Dark is going to look like? We don't know. What the Age of Dark is really not that clear. It's just... It's whatever is coming is what the Age is all we know. And we'll eventually have the choice. Do we want to try and avoid it? Or do we want to accept it? Do we want to miss all of our attacks and die? That's also a choice. Ooh, do we get a bloat head or is this a shard? Shard. Yeah, you can get the bloat heads from... You can drop bloat heads. See if we can't get a nice little description from one of them if it drops, but... It basically says it's this weird pus, mucus-filled, oozing, cracked, scabby thing. And you'd have to be insane to put this on your head. Which, yeah, kind of. Pretty much. And go around here. We're going to open up a little shortcut. And we're going to head back because there's still plenty of stuff in that building we need to get. Shortcut first. Yay, we're back up here. We got to see a body fall ragdoll from the sky. Go us. I think it's interesting. I think it's correct, but it is interesting that there's a shortcut when, as it'll happen, there's a bonfire, like, straight ahead. Through the door at the end of the room over there. Now, I think it's good that there's a shortcut there, because, holy fuck, that next bit up ahead is nasty. It is very, very easy to die there. As we will see, potentially. This build is, yes, with this easy mode Dark Souls, we're probably going to be okay. This build's pretty good at it. But, it's still totally possible to die if we're not careful. It's not like some fights where we borderline don't have to care, like you saw with Artorias. As long as we have Estus, we don't really have to care about whatever Artorias does. He is too weak. The Ulusil Sorcerers are not so weak. Mr. Four Knight of Gwyn's legendary hero Artorias is much scrubbier than some bloat-headed freak with his spooky magic. There it is. Yes, it's another place you have to open up with light. How the fuck you are supposed to know you need a light head to open this wall? Guess. You had to have found it out in the other place from the message, which was already slightly hidden to begin with. And then you have to see that and guess, oh, I bet I need the light shit again. Or you do what I do and figure it out from the internet. And your reward? A red Titanite chunk. That's what you needed, I'm sure. Also, an empty room. It's cool. But, I mean, you could argue maybe it's fine to put a shit reward at the end of a place you're probably not going to find. I think there's validity there. I don't know if I agree, but you're valid. Stop laughing at me! Fuck off and die. You also fuck off and die. I've been known to occasionally forget that that chest is a mimic, but... A key! Now what could this be? Where are you at? Crest key. Bet crest key. Grooves of the crest are enchanted, the door sealed with a powerful spell. Thanks, mate. Yeah, ambush ahoy. I'm not gonna go there quite yet. Got other places to check out. There's an item, I think, over there that I always sort of forget about. We'll have to remember to get it. You, maybe? Yeah, I think we'll go down you. And it's our friend from earlier, who seemed very confused by our arrival and wasn't entirely sure what to do, which is good for us, because we could have potentially died there otherwise. And we cut the little line keeping the body afloat, so also go us. Drop down here. Over the roof. There's an item. Not a big deal of an item. Twin humanities, we don't need that. We're not going to need it. We have more than enough humanity. And even if we didn't, there's an amazing humanity farm up ahead, so. But, it's cool. We found it. We can feel good about ourselves. Dark fog. Again, the dark magics are interesting enough. I'm actually going to give it a look. Again, the Lucille Sorcerer on the Brink of Madness. Although dark fog is, in theory, relatively close to humanity, it also happens to be a terrible poison for humans. Perhaps it reflects man's cruelty against his own. Ooh, philosophical. So that's also something to keep in mind as well. It creates a fog that is close to humanity, but for some reason also acts as some poison, acts as a terrible poison for humans. So also combine this with what we know about Artorias, who, without a murmur of dark, was not able to combat the Abyss. So, dark, the Abyss, this big manifestation of dark, you need dark to be able to survive it. However, dark, when a little too far off, or dark when it's close to humanity, but not quite, acts as dangerous for humanity, other kind of dark. This is a lot. Also, you can see that little shotgun blast there. It's fast as fuck, there's a lot of projectiles, by the way, it hurts. Oh, hey, you came out. Yes. So there's a lot to take in. Honestly, I would say don't think too hard about it. It's symbolic more than anything. I think that perhaps it represents man's cruelty against his own is more what Miyazaki was going for, to be honest, but at least with that bit. But, whatever. It's interesting. I enjoy it. Hence, I bring it up. And now we have big chains and metal guy. Well, let me see if I can show it off. If you attack him... Okay, never mind. The Zweihander's too big. If you attack him with lighter weapons, you're just going to bounce off. As if he had, like, iron body. And he has a lot of physical defense, and he swings his big heavy chain ball and chain around and smacks you about. Zweihander has no difficulties just smashing him, though. Big heavy metal dude encounters bigger heavy metal dude. That's us, by the way. And yeah, there's a minor ambush from a bloathead on the elevator. What the fuck ever, it doesn't matter. If you get done in by that ambush, then I don't know what to tell you. You either got surprised, freaked out, messed up, panicked, and went off the edge, or you had barely gotten to that point in the first place and were not prepared. My sympathies, but also SMH. We could kindle this bonfire, but we're not going to bother. By the way, township is where we want to go. Every bonfire in the DLC can be warped to, with the possible exception of the very first one before the Sanctuary Guardians. I'm not 100% sure about that one. And it doesn't really matter. Let's get our 20 back. Let's head on out. And let's say hi.
You, is that not the soul of the man who fell on this spot? He was a dear friend. I wish to pay proper respect with that soul. Would you be willing to part with it?
Now, normally I say no and just fucking kill her for her clothing. And I'm really tempted to do that. But we're gonna be nice for once.
Thank you. You are very kind. Please take this. I no longer need it.
She gives us our
May the
weapons.
Lord guide thee.
I can't remember, but I think it's possible you come back here and find her dead body or her clothes or some shit anyways. We'll see. Let's check out the weapons we gave her. Dark silver dagger used by the Lord's Blade Kieran, one of Gwyn's 4 knights. The victim is first distracted by the dazzling streaks of the Gold Tracer, then stung by the vicious poison of this dagger. Yes, this dagger inflicts, I think, toxic? I don't remember. I've never used it. It's very good skill scaling, though. And then it's Gold Tracer, Kieran, brandishes a sword in a mesmerizing dance, and etching the darkness with dire streaks of gold. It's very fancy. In theory. In practice, they're not actually that good being wielded one in each hand. Like, it seems like they're supposed to. But the attacks are fancy and look cool, so I guess it's fine. Let's say hi to the Chester who tried to kill us.
Oh, you. You have quite some nerve. Or are you just thick? Fine then. What is it that you need?
I like that line. You have some nerve. Or are you just thick? Fine then.
Did you really slay Knight Artorias? I'd heard the Abyss found him first, but even still, that's absolutely treacherous. Yes, magnificently so. Believe it or not, Ulasil has brought the Abyss upon itself, fooled by that toothy serpent. They upturned the grave of primeval man and incited his ornery wrath. What could they have been thinking? But to you and I, it's all ancient history. You have to ask yourself, does it really matter?
That's a interesting view on things. Yeah, there's some nasty shit that happened in the past, but because it's just really far in the past, who cares? This guy's quite the bastard. And yes, Ulasil brought this upon itself. Fooled by that toothy serpent. Theorized to be Koth, could have been someone else. But probably a primeval serpent. They certainly fit the toothy serpent description.
Well, you've quite the nerve. I've had enough of you.
Oh, that's a shame.
I'll be seeing you, if you survive your travels.
Well, I'm afraid our relationship must come to an end, then. Before we murder this bitch... Yes. Koth or Frant, probably Koth, or possibly another serpent, convinced the citizens of, or the people of Ulasil to overturn the grave of primeval man. We suppose Manus, who we seem to think, or at least is theorized to be the furtive pygmy, founder of the Dark Soul. Mentioned once in the opening and never again. So easily forgotten. Now, we can theorize about exactly how they disturbed him and why and whatever, but seemingly they're after something, probably to deal with humanity and the Dark Soul, probably related to power. They overturned his grave. He was woken up from being dead or something, and unleashed the abyss and darkness upon Ulasil. An unstoppable abyss. Anyways.
What now? You think this is all my fault? How very, very petty of you. Very petty indeed.
Yeah, I don't think I could parry the kick. Do you say anything else to say before you die? Doesn't look like it.
You win. Please. Oh, please. Have mercy.
Nope. And now we can put on his clothes if we want. Because everyone knows, when you kill someone, the best thing to do is rob their clothing and wear it. It doesn't make you look weird at all. Sup, Kieran? Could probably just murder you for your clothes right now as well, but we're gonna be nice. You at least were nice enough, didn't attack us. If you do attack her, you find she doesn't think much of humans. And honestly, was probably just being... I don't know. She's putting on a front, being like, oh, could you please give us... She's an assassin anyway, so maybe she's planning to stab us in the back. Though if she does, she never tries, so who cares? But if you attack her, she's like, ah, you humans. And you kill her, and she's like, oh, you humans are dangerous, my dear Artorias, as she dies. But we probably won't be seeing that.
A visitor, have we? Thou must be the one who freed Artorias. An old friend he was, Thanks to thee, he left this world with honor intact. And here I am, retired and blind. Of little help to thee, I'm afraid.
Let's go. Gao. Something. Goth. I don't know. Last of the Four Knights.
If thou seekest to explore this domain, be wary of a black dragon. I fear thee no match for this terrible beast. There's very little to be said. What good is a dog with no hares to hunt? But I'm lucky to be alive, I suppose.
Okay.
But I'm
He's cool as shit, by the way. He sells shit, by the way. Sells bones, prism stones, carvings. You can drop them to say hello. They're a co-op / PvP type thing.
farewell, human. Lead thy life as thou seest fit.
He's an interesting one. So he just sits here doing quite a bit of whittling. His helmet is sealed. The eye parts are sealed shut with resin, blinding him. Now, in theory, unless it got into his eyes, he could just take the helmet off and he'd see again. But he doesn't. Possibly he doesn't. He thinks of himself as blind. Possibly he doesn't realize his vision was taken, or perhaps it's a choice. He seems rather smart, a rather philosophical sort. So I kind of hesitate to imagine that, no, he just doesn't even realize. But you never know. And they were sealed shut by people who were like, oh, he's just a stupid giant. Fuck him. This is a big dumb and not fit for our civilized civilization. Very, bit direct, perhaps, in this, that the, most philosophical and one of the more nuanced people in this game was treated like that because of just being, oh, he's a big dum-dum, but, it's what it is. And he is a cool character. Again, I like the voices of almost everyone in this game, and he is no exception. But we'll see just how fucking awesome he is in a bit. Outside of just being this philosophical type with... I mean, whittling like that, I think there's Buddhist... I won't say coding exactly, but there's Buddhist overtones there. Sort of this enlightened sort. Is kind of what's in that, so... He is a big, strong knight who used to hunt dragons, but with no more dragons, has somewhat lost his hair. Or what good is a dog with no hairs to hunt? I'm lucky to be alive, I suppose. Whether that's what he believes or what he's been told by the people who sealed his eyes shut, who can say. But he is a dog with no hairs to hunt. He hunted dragons, along with the other knights, and with none left, he's like, well, what else is there to do? Besides find enlightenment carving shit. While blind. But what if there were a dragon in need of hunting? Recognize this. There goes Kalami. This is where we saw him before. I forgot about the crystal lizard. Oh well. We can get it next time. For there will in fact be a next time. Take a quick sippy. Now what you're supposed to be like is you're like, oh, items. And we'll play the part. Soul Brave Warrior, Soul over here. A lot of souls you might be noticing. Then what's this? Oh shit! Death. Although not death in our case because we big tanky boy. Gonna heal up. We'll make a dash for this treasure chest that we happen to know the location of, because I may have played this game a number of times before. Just maybe. And you have a fair amount of time to get out if necessary. Not sure if he can hit you here or not. We're about to find out. I don't think so. Oh, a little bit. Surprisingly painful. And you just homeward out. Okay. Now, having gone through that, let's go complain to Go. Giant Daddy the Mean Dragon beat me up. Also interesting to note that the ancient dragons were supposedly all killed. And yet, Kalameet is here, and there's another one down Nash Lake. Kalameet seems a bit different, though. Oh no, his scales, I guess obsidian is a type of stone. So I guess he's just a different sort of stone dragon. But we can kill him. So his scales are maybe not quite so stony and immortal as the others. Perhaps he's not actually an ancient dragon. Perhaps he's a newer one. Perhaps after the first flame appeared, the dragons bred and changed and stuff happened. The first flame is sort of... It's treated as the uncaused causation, I guess. It's sort of the first time when everything before then was unchanging, eternal. The first flame appears, life, death, light, and dark are suddenly things. Things happen. Maybe all of that's a lie, though. Who knows? Doesn't matter.
Black dragon.
You have a dragon to kill. Hell yeah, he is.
Yes, I thought as much. He's called Kalameet. Ferocious dragon indeed. Even mighty Anna Londa dared not provoke his ire. I see little good coming from this, but thy intent is to persevere to the bitter end.
Mm-hmm.
Good, good. What is bravery without a dash of recklessness? I've taken a liking to thee, and I owe thee much for thy service to Artorias. Now, watch, and see how Goth hunts dragons.
I'll probably forget how to pronounce it again later, but yes, Goth. So this is cool as shit. Feels around. Finds his bow. Another reminder that yes, this guy is blind, by the way. Knocks the arrow. Draws it back. Takes a lot of strength to do so. He listens. Through the wing, into the side, at the wing tendon, I guess. Takes him out of the air. One shot.
Yes. A truer shot was never loosed. That bat will be grounded for a good spell. The rest is in thine hands. I await good tidings. Ah, dragon slaying. Knighthood's highest calling.
Goth is a total badass. Kalameet, even mighty Anna Londa dared not provoke his wrath. Goth just one-shots him out of the air. Just nothing to it. And as Plague pointed out, and I will say, I'm not going to say I'm outright copying Plague, and a lot of things I say are sort of my own observations and conclusions, but there's a lot of stuff I picked up on watching his stream, and one of it was, Goth could probably just kill Kalameet anytime he wanted. If he can shoot him like that, it would be no trouble at all for him to just kill the dragon. And yet he doesn't. So, clearly, there's probably a reason for that. And it might just be that having a dragon around to hunt, even when he's not hunting, is something that gives him a sense of comfort. A feeling of, there is still something here. My purpose is... I have a purpose that I could revive if I wanted. I guess revive isn't the word, but... it is there. Perhaps that's it. As I need to decide if I'm actually going to go overweighted here or not. We're going to use Havel's shield. We're going to show off how buff this fucking shield is. We're going to proceed to have this dog dodge every attack we do. Let's just run slow. We're going to be fat. We're going to be gross. We're going to have terrible overweight problems. But man, are we going to be tank. God, it looks bad. But we have very high fire damage, if Kalameet's fire is in fact fire damage. Like I said, it looks a bit funky, so I can't say for sure it's not magic. There's a lot of magic in this DLC in a lot of different ways. Most of the enemies are actually very resistant to magic, for starters. Well, most of the bosses, at least. I don't know about the enemies. This introduced dark magic. Kalameet himself, I believe, is extremely resistant to magic. So who's to say his breath is not magic? Manus uses dark magic, he has spooky dark breath. Who can say? There you are. It's honestly better to just go down the ladder, because we're obviously taking a bit of damage doing this, but this is an option. Ouchies. Black Dragon Kalameet. Dramatic music. It's a fun fight. We're gonna run a big shield, because honestly, his physical attacks are pretty hard to dodge. He has a lot of HP. When he flies up like that, run. We're a bit slow, so we might not make it. Slow to react. Honestly, I think fighting him unlocked is probably the best way to do it. Yeah, Havel's shield, with its extremely high stability. Yeah, right, he's gonna do that. Just make a run for it. His aim was terrible. Okay, we made it. Honestly, being slower, being this heavy and slow is ooh, I should not have gotten hit by that. It's probably gonna hurt us a fair amount. But if you are having some difficulty with him, this is the way I'd recommend going about it. Just tank up with the Great Shield and some heavy armor until you learn his attacks. By the way, see that glowy thing above us? We've been affected by his Calamity. I don't remember if this is exactly a status effect or not, but Calamity, which makes us take double damage while it's on us. It will go away eventually. By the way, that attack there is the reason I recommend a shield. That and, like, one other. Shit. Fucked that up. I'm being very slow to react here. Because his physical attacks can be... they're dodgeable, but it's tricky. You have to, like, roll into them at the proper time, and Also, we're not going for his tail, by the way. His tail is stupid hard to take out. Ow. The attack is the other one. You need some real nice timing to be able to dodge that. Ah! Yeah, I should have gone lighter. Oh well. As you can see, we're not actually taking that much damage from any of the attacks. We have a shit ton of Estus, so we're fine. That did do damage because we're calamitized. That attack is also a little annoying. Tail Thwam. His tail is so hard to cut off. Kalameet is not actually that difficult of a boss. As you can see, we're playing this pretty poorly, and we're still kicking his ass. If we were faster and I wasn't reacting like a fucking slug, we'd be doing even better. I should probably stop two-handing for every one of these. Shit! Okay, out of the range of that. Like, this is one of the few times you actually have a chance to go for his tail, but look how fast he gets out of that animation when you try to go for it. This guy's tail is the hardest boss in the damn game. It doesn't help that most weapons, even tall weapons like the Zwei, have trouble reaching it when it's in the air, and there's very few times he puts it on the ground, and almost... And then on top of that, his tail's HP is absolutely crazy. I don't know why his fucking tail has a health bar that's like a third of his own. Oh, I'm having a lot of trouble dodging that because I'm so heavy. And you can't block it, but... The trade-off is I mean, I'm going to say this till the cows come home at this rate, probably, but... Trade-off of this stupidly overweightness is we don't actually take that much damage. And just like that, he's dead. It's Manus as well. It's honestly even better against Manus for the most part. I'm alright. Go us. I'm dumb. Grass Crest. Should we change it up? Let's actually run Robe of the Chandlers. Gargoyle Helm. Havel's Gauntlets. Silver Knight? Waistcloth? Golem Leggings. Ew. Let's run the Chandler's leggings after all. Fancy. Stylish. We look good. Let's check out Calamate's ring just briefly, because it's a thing. Re-enchanted by the Orange Eye of Calamite, the Bringer of Calamity. Doubles damage received by its wearer. A useless ring, befitting of no finger, best left unknown, or at least well hidden. This is telling you don't fucking wear it, you dipshit. And yes, you probably shouldn't wear it. It's pretty bad. Pretty bad. It's a funny thing about Calamate's ring is it's an artificially induced hard mode, taking away one of your ring slots, placed behind a pretty powerful boss at a super far away part of the game. I feel like if you're going to put a hard mode in, you should put it towards the beginning. I don't know, it seems... I guess it's a New Game Plus thing, of course, but still, it's... I don't know. Seems a bit sus, if you asked me. Let's just pop some souls. Let's even pop... I'm gonna pop this fucking Guardian soul. What does this even give? Mostly, like, to acquire a huge amount of souls or create a unique weapon. You don't create a unique weapon out of this, just... The Guardian exhibits traits of several animals other than lions, suggesting it was no ordinary beast, but rather closer to the beings known as demons. Was it a demon? Had the Witch of Izalith even created the Flame of Chaos yet? What is this thing? Who fucking knows? It's 12,000 souls is what it is. Is that enough for 2 level ups? It is more than enough. So now we hit a point where, like, what do you even put points into anymore? You can put into health for, 25 health. That's something. It's not terrible. You can get attunement for slots. We're not going any magic, or any dex, or any of that crap. Dex would honestly actually give us some decent damage, but... You'd have to put points into dex, and that's just shameful. Component resistance... Get the 6 poison resistance you has. Strength gives us less damage than Dex, so obviously not going to bother in that. 50 strength wields any weapon in the game. So let's just put more into it. Become the tankiest of the tanks. You can also put into stamina for more carry weight, but why bother? You need a frankly absurd amount of stamina, even with our ring setup, to be able to get all that much use out of the extra carry weight. Like, we could maybe get the whole Smoes, Havels, Vi with still medium roll at some absurdly high value, maybe? no guarantees, because the amount of stamina you even get per point goes down, so... But I'm not going to bother. Let's just get more health. Health is good. Health does not betray. What up?
Why, thou hast defeated Calamite? Wondrously played. Lord Gwyn's blessing upon thee. That beast will never take to the skies again. Dragons shall never be forgotten. We knights fought valiantly, but for every one of them, we lost 70 of our own. Exhilaration, pride, hatred, rage. The dragons teased out our dearest emotions. Thou will understand one day. At thy twilight, cold thoughts return, in great waves of nostalgia.
And Go is a philosophical old war veteran, perhaps losing his purpose and seeking enlightenment, seemingly.
This great bow, I shan't need it, but no dragons to hunt. I know not if a human could even operate it. But here, thy need outweighs mine.
Thanks, mate.
I suspect thou hast taken a gander at it, but the dark of the abyss, which swallowed poor Artorias, threatens to devour our entire land of Ulasil. It seems that this dire fate is unavoidable, but seduced by a dark serpent or no, they awoke that thing themselves and drove it mad. One's demise is always one's own making.
The Rumble Man.
If thine wish is to succeed poor Artorias and challenge the spread of the dark, then thou must face Manus, father of the abyss. The dark emanates from Manus himself. Even if this land shall expire, thou may be able to prevent further corrosion. But even so, one day the flames will fade, and only dark will remain, and even a legend such as thyself can do nothing to stop that. Now, do not mistake my words. I cherish my work. Wood carving is a nuanced art. I would have much to talk about with that blacksmith.
The giant blacksmith.
How is the old chap, I wonder? Still hammering away, I should hope. Now, do not...
Okay.
Farewell, proud human. May every honor be bestowed upon thee.
He said some pretty heavy stuff there. It's talking about one's fate is one's demise of one's own doing. But the one thing I want to focus on is that persistent thing of you can take down Manus. The dark of the abyss is emanating from him. You can stop the spread of it, which would otherwise be inevitable. But you cannot stop the dark. One day, there's the one inevitability is that one day the flames will fade, and only dark will remain. Karen is gone, as are her clothes. R.I.P. Yes, one day the flames will fade, and only dark will remain. That is the one inevitability of this. And there's nothing we can do to stop that. Let's head down to the township. And this is why I think DS2 and 3 kind of dropped the ball a bit, because the whole point of this game is that one day the flames will fade and only dark will remain. The Age of Dark is coming. You can try and slow it down, but you can't stop it. It will happen. It is inevitable. Anything else is a lie. So doing anything except starting the, starting DS3/DS2 in the Age of Dark, I feel like was just a bit of a mistake. Maybe that's just me, but I don't know. I like to treat DS2 and 3 as if they're fan fiction, effectively. I don't think they follow up well on this game at all. And I don't think they fit very well into the lore, and honestly cheapen it a little bit. Because so much of a point of this game is just that inevitability. And do you accept and embrace that inevitability, or do you try and fight it? Knowing that even so, it is eventually futile. Do you embrace this illusion of the Age of Fire that still remains? The beauty of Anor Londo and the Age of the Gods, with all its nasty undertones that it might have, with all its tragedies, with all its hypocrisies at times. There's still a lot of beauty and art to it. Do you choose to embrace that? You choose to try and keep it going a little longer at a sacrifice of yourself, even knowing that they are sacrificing you for their own good? Do you still believe in their age? Or do you want to see what happens when the inevitability comes? Do you choose to just accept the inevitable truth, knowing that it may be ugly, terrible, and frankly unknown? We see little of the dark, but what we do see is not pleasant. That's the choice of this game, ultimately. But no matter what you do, one day the flames will fade and only dark will remain. And that is powerful theming. It's interesting. It provides a choice. It's good. DS2 is just, doesn't matter. This is going to be an endless cycle. Who gives a shit? That sucks. DS3 is, tee-hee, we remade DS1 and now it makes no sense and also it's dumb. But don't worry, it's anime, so it's cool, guys. Fuck off. Anyways, let's take a look at Darkbead. Successive Dark Orbs. Yes. In contrast to standard soul sorceries, abyss sorceries are weighty and inflict physical damage. Perhaps a human soul is closer to matter in its humanity. Okay, so again, just more physical stuff. Also, Alvina was leading us somewhere. She stopped here. A sign, perhaps? Ow. Yeah, these guys hurt, by the way, when you touch them. Just since we haven't been touched very much yet. No bad touches occurred, but these guys, and the bigger they are, the more damage they do. They can deal quite a bit. If you get swarmed by these things, especially since attacks often happen in front of you instead of inside of you, it's dangerous. And they're sort of backing away from me, but they're great sources of humanity, but you do have to be careful. They give very little souls, but they have a high humanity drop rate. These phantom things. Let's just check out the Great Shield real briefly. It's got very even resistances. The steel Great Shield used by Artorias has succumbed to the Abyss. Artorias, deeply scarred by the Abyss, used this to form a barrier to protect compatriot Sith. Although this drained the shield, its magic defense remains high. By the way, the soul of Artorias can be used to make a few things, one of which I think was his Great Shield, in its original undrained form. I forget what the stats are, though. And it frankly doesn't matter all that much. Havel's Great Shield is the strongest Great Shield in the game, so. And since we have the ability to wield it, we don't need to care. Anyways, as you can see, shortcut. Previous Chester, other way, Coliseum. Shortcut. down into the abyss. And yes, I just want to reiterate once again, because I think this is something very important to keep in mind while we're here. This might just be what the Age of Dark looks like. Maybe this is just the abyss, but this could be what the Age of Dark looks like. Just unending dark, with humans turned into just humanity in seemingly its purest of forms. Just a phantom. A humanity-shaped phantom. Humanity item. This is... I think canonically these are just like humanity. They come close to you. They seek you out. But they hurt you when they touch you. Humanity, once again, being dangerous to its own. This might be what's in store at the end of it, with the age when the flames finally fade and only dark remains. This might just be what we're in for. As bad as the Age of the Gods can be for people, maybe it's better than what's in store when it ends. But maybe it's not. That's sort of what... That's what this game comes down to thematically at the end, is... The Dark is this heavy, ugly, unknown future. You've seen it corrupt things, it's not pretty, but you don't actually know what will come of it. So do you choose to... but it is your age. It's the age of humans. Do you choose to embrace it? Become the Dark Lord, rule the age? Or do you choose to sacrifice yourself to prolong the current one, in fear of what might be to come? In fear of the unknown? Knowing even so that it is... The age you are trying to preserve is a lie. Most of the gods are dead. The rest have left Anor Londo. But perhaps you think there is still enough there, or perhaps your fear of the unknown is enough that you think it's worth. I'm not here to judge. It is just knowing that no matter what, it'll only be temporary. And yes, Black Flame. It was a pyromancer, again, who wandered into Oolacile. This one wandered into Oolacile, probably again on the edge of madness. Conjure a great black flame in one's palm. Black flames are weighty and inflict physical damage enough to smack away the mightiest of shields. Black Flame is a fun little spell. Pretty nice in PvP. I've used it on people who just sit behind shields all day. But once again, it is like all the other dark spells, reinforcing humanity. The dark humanity has a weight. It is physical. Die. And by the way, this here... Yeah, if you want to farm humanity, get whatever humanity on you can to put on the gold serpent. Kill these bitches. Fuck you. But like I said, as you can see, they do kind of hurt a little bit. We're okay because we have good defense and good HP, and we can kill them very quickly. But although I think I've only ever died once, but I have died to these things in the past. It is something where you do need some caution. So I know I'm repeating myself a little bit, but I do think it bears repeating. Help me. Don't die. I died. I've died more often to that spot than I have to the damn humanity things, though, so... Make of that what you will. It's been a while since we died. But because we opened the shortcut, we can use the Oolacile Township bonfire. We can get our easy 20 Estus. And I'm not 100% sure. I believe this is a shorter run to Manus. And at the very least, even if it's not exactly shorter, you take care of the damn sorcerer on the ledge, so you don't have to worry about him shooting at you while you're running through. So, I think that alone gives it enough value. And honestly, there is a surprising amount of running from the other bonfire anyway, so I believe this is shorter. Not 100%, but I believe. Maybe 66% sure. Whee! Chonk. This thing goes pretty fast, too, gotta say. All the humanities have respawned. Could probably just ignore them, to be honest, if we so desire. I'm gonna kill this guy because he pisses me off. Or he can just run away like a babby. Fuck you. You two are in the way. And we are going to get our souls back, as relatively inconsequential as they are. None of that bullshit. Occurs to me, we've never seen the sorcerer use the dark fog yet, but they can use it. Uh-oh. Wow, that was bad. R.I.P. stamina. R.I.P. missing. We'll have to check out the affinities spell when we get it. That's something we should, I think, get that from the giant blacksmith with Manus' soul, if memory serves, so we'll have to pay him a visit. Ow. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Pain. That was way more damage than I would have liked to have taken. Let's try not to fall off the edge this time. In as stupid of a way as that was before. Ow! This is where Black Flame is, by the way. It honestly would have been simpler, maybe more efficient to have gone. Time efficient wise, at least, probably would have been better to have killed the sorcerer and then gone to clear this stuff up after falling, but oh, whatever. This is not, nor has it ever been, a min-max maximum efficiency run. This is just easy mode. A way to casually make the game easier, if you find it's difficult to be a bit much, but you still want to experience it without just uber cheesing it with some strict min-max bullshit. I don't know how many people actually have that need, but as long as there's someone out there who this is good for, then mission accomplished. Because this is my favorite game of all time, and I want to share it with as many people as I can. You can see a little fog gate down there. Now, somewhere around here, I don't remember where exactly. I don't want to roll, that was a little close. But I remember from looking online that apparently somewhere around here, you can, if you look down, you can see Manus' spooky rolling red eyes. I think it was in the next area. And apparently it is possible to shoot him with the bow and arrow from that location. And while you can't kill him doing that, you can take him down to 1 HP. And then kill him in the fight. So there's that. What? Top knot slab. Here, maybe? No. Could drop there, but we're just gonna run back. I wonder who laid out these little lights, by the way. Because in the catacombs, it's Patches. Who is it here? Artorias, maybe? It does seem he made it to Manus. At the very least, he got down far enough that he left behind Sif with his shield. But the Dark of the Abyss overcame him in the end. His arm was broken, which probably happened fighting Manus as well. At least that's my theory. Is it here you could see the eyes? I don't actually know exactly where it is. Yes, there's somewhere you can stand and shoot Manus. And you can tell he's there because of his spooky glowy eyes or something. We shouldn't need to do that, though. Now, once again, we are Fatty McFatFat. But we are going to run this the cheesy. Well, it's not. I don't know if you can say cheese, but it's kind of cheesy. The tank way. Because Manus is actually kind of hard. We've been graved. Spooky. Father of the Abyss. As you can see, we don't actually take that much damage, but he attacks a lot. Our stamina is also low, and we're in a dangerous spot right now. Big hand attack. That one's moderately dodgeable if you get the timing super down. Backhand. This is a very safe way to play, but it's a very effective way if you're having difficulty otherwise. Could you... What we do have to watch out for is his fucking combo bullshit, which he hasn't done yet. And honestly, that the combo attack, if it finally comes out, is one of the reasons I'm just like this. Oh, here it is. We're gonna get caught. That combo attack is one of the reasons I'm just like, this boss is horseshit. It does a shit ton of damage. Oh, here comes the dark magic. We still get hit by the end. Now, Havel's shield can somewhat... Here comes the combo. You get hit by one attack, you're getting hit by the rest. And we can survive it decently because we're ungodly tanky, but most can't. Will you stop with the dark magic? Ow. Let's go in and tank a bit, and just face tank a bit. Or not. Yeah, we're not going to try and dodge anything against this jerk, because, Fat Roll is just not good for that. And this guy attacks, as you can see, very quickly. Alright. Yeah, he can actually knock you back with the shield enough to get out of the combo, but rolling, if you're too close to him when he uses that... Ow. Oh well. You can just heal up there. Oh, got hit, but it's fine. We have plenty of heals. If you're too close when he uses his multi-hit combo attack, even if you roll, you're probably still getting hit. Because there's quite a bit of reach. And then you get comboed, and if you're not buff enough, you dead. And it's Dawn. Also, lots of humanity. What up, Dawn? Or Dusk, lol. Why do I keep calling her Dawn? Doesn't have a lot to say for herself at the moment. I think she has something to say if you come back. So we're going to quit out and come back and see if that does it. And if it doesn't, we're going to warp and come back and see if that does it. And if that doesn't do it, we're going to cry. Big salty tears. We will fall upon the floor in a pile of grief and misery, sobbing uncontrollably. The tears spilling in rivers from our eyes, cascading upon our keyboards and controllers, sulking them in our salt. It is the fate all gamers know. The only fate gamers have. It will come for all of our kind eventually. Where the fuck you go, Dushk? Did you come back to the sanctuary? I do not remember. Perhaps she did. Let's go there, then. And then we can fight the double jerk faces if we desire, or we can just say fuck it, because why would we? I don't know. Just keep pumping Vit. Become tank. Snap neck. At the very least, we can talk to Mushroom Lady again, so there's that. What's shaking, Mushroom Lady?
I have awaited thee. Thou hast rescued Princess Dusk, and rid us of that terrible primeval human, even halting the spread of the abyss. I salute the grandeur of thine enterprise. Please allow me to express my gratitude. I thank thee, as do we all.
Aight, thanks, bro.
I will remember thee, but I will keep thy story to myself. This is the best way, for thou art come from a time far ahead. No one will sing thy praises, but yet thy greatness shall live on, for it shall be my purpose to remember all thou hast done for us.
Yep, no legends or songs or heroic epics about you, but don't worry. The old mushroom of the wall will remember you.
Was thine eye glancing hither? Thou needst not hide thy wonder. I am a mushroom, after all.
But why are you a mushroom?
I am.
So she understands
May
that
the
mushroom is
flames
weird,
guide
but
thee.
will not tell us anything else. And there is no Dusk to be found. R.I.P. Dusk. Let's try again once more, and then, if no Dusk still, such is life. Can you warp to Manus's bonfire? I think that would be Chasm of the Abyss. Yes, Chasm of the Abyss. Dusky, dusky, ya there? You anywhere? I found her once before, but for the life of me I cannot remember. Maybe you just have to summon her again. In present time, that's possible. She should be summonable again. We won't bother, though. She's only like, ah, oh, I remember I was rescued by someone. I think it was Artorias. Amazing. It's like, yeah, sure as Artorias. We'll go with that. I guess we'll fight the dudes, and then we'll finish up. Made pretty good time on the DLC, but as buff as we are, it's really not that hard. What's our best lightning defense? That's just most. Let's go fatty. Smells is lighter than Havel's. Equal to Guardian. Alright, we are the big fats. We'll try and just man fight this, see how it goes. There's really not a lot of purpose to this, it's just... Maybe it's if you didn't get their tail and you want another go at it or something, ow. As you can see, though, it's a problem. However, in this case, if you really want, you can just go, oh no, I'm in trouble. Drink, drink. Return to fight. But yeah, they're fucking annoying. It's almost like you were a shitty boss. And you were bad enough to be in the game once, and should never have been in it again. Like, I guess this is, they're like, oh, I wanted a challenge of another 2v1. But you see, Ornstein and Smough was interesting because Ornstein and Smough were different. And you had to adjust them properly. This is just, oh, we put the same jerk face, who wasn't even well designed in the first place, with another of the same jerk face. Now you get to fight two jerk faces that are poorly designed. Isn't that fun? No, fuck off. Oh, you missed. I don't even know how you missed, but you missed. Fuck you. Will you stop? See, this is the problem with these things. They're just so fucking flighty. Fuck you. You couldn't beat me 2v1. You think you can beat me now? Alright, be that way. How am I missing these? How is he missing that? Oh look, I got another whip. Now I can dual wield shit weapons. Die. Just die. You don't even give souls. Technically they do, but not a lot. Not worth my time. I'll pop some souls, level up, and then let's fight Gwyn. We'll pop a punch and see what we can get out of it. That should be enough for maybe 2 levels. Yeah. Whoops. Alright, for this we need to go to the Abyss. Oh, so we'll be finishing up right about in time, too. Go us.
What is it? I am your guardian. Go on. State your wish.
I don't know about you being my guardian or whatever, but whatever, let's warp. Skip this. Skip again. Have we looked at Bequeath Soul Shard? We should look at this first before we sacrifice it to the flames. Soul of the albino Seath the Scaleless. A fragment of a lord's soul discovered at the dawn of the Age of Fire. The dragons don't have souls. Souls came from the first flames. This is not Seath's soul. This is Gwyn's soul given to Seath. Which is something that I think DS2 kind of missed the point on. Seath allied with Lord Gwyn and turned upon the dragons, and for this he was awarded dukedom, embraced by the royalty, and given a fragment of a great soul. Although just a piece, it will still satiate the Lord Vassal. Yes, this is a piece, once again, a piece of Gwyn's soul will satiate the Lord Vessel. God, do we look bad. I'm gonna change out of this. There's no way I'm ending the game looking this shit. I should have bought Giant's armor or something. That at least looks good. Let's see. I'll just end it in Havel's. I know Havel's isn't the best, but I think it's at least fitting. Rockman. Now this is cool, by the way. This is fucking cool. Also, we should rest. As you can see, with 4 souls, with it kindled essentially 4 times, Lord Vessel now gives 20 Estus. This is interesting. We go from this physical place down in the middle of, well, wherever is beneath Firelink. We enter here. Go through this weird ethereal staircase with these ghosts of black knights crossing our path. And we exit to where the Kiln of the First Flame, wherever that is. Has been pointed out, look at the direction that this melted rock came. There seemed to have been some twirly circular fire tornado storm or something. And it's in a lot of it's facing in this way, but there's some facing in other directions. And since it would have blown out from the center, it probably blew out swirling around the place. This at least, I guess, shows the direction of rotation. Or maybe not. Maybe it's random. Who gives a shit? But either way, you can tell that there was some intense flames going around over here. Also, Black Knights. Fuck you. I should maybe end the game with Black Knight armor. Black Knight armor looks cool. And we'll get it while we're here. Not bad against Gwyn either, so why not? And there's Ash galore. This is... well, it's the kiln, is what it says. It's the Kiln of the First Flame. Man, you hurt. This is where, assumedly, the First Flame originally was born. Or appeared. Born is perhaps the wrong word. And where Gwyn came to sacrifice himself to link the flame and extend its duration. And the intense heat from that clearly did some considerable damage to a very large area. But now it's just ash. Ash and burnt rock. And the flame is died down to almost nothing. This place is huge and epic as shit, though, so... a fitting place for the final boss. We're not going to take too many chances with this guy, being in unstable terrain as we are. And I mean, it's still the case that Black Knights are best parried, so... make of it what you will. Black Knight armor. Let's dress up a bit. It's obvious, if you compare it to the Silver Knight armor, it's pretty damn similar. But much higher fire defense, less lightning. If you compare it to Havel's, it's much lighter, but also significantly less defense. But the Black Knights are pretty cool, so... let's end the game as one. Plus, Gwyn does a lot of fire damage, so having some nice fire defense is not necessarily a bad thing. Now, I will say, if you are worried at all about this final fight, the final boss, I would recommend just running Smough. If Smough is too ugly for you, run Havel's, or Guardian, or something. this build is designed to be able to just face tank, and the heavier your armor, the better you do that. We're just doing this for funsies. We're also going to attempt to beat Gwyn without parrying, but if it looks bad, I might just start parrying. Gwyn is more parryable, cheesable than his knights are, so... Well, maybe not more, but still. Gwyn can be parry-cheesed. That's the key point. In fact, the usual way Gwyn's easy boss is because of just how easy it is to parry the shit out of him. He's otherwise quite a beast. Yes, let's take one more moment to appreciate the scenery. And the fact that we have no clue where this is, or even when it is, necessarily. Time being convoluted. Let's traverse the white light. Gwyn, Lord of Cinder. Plein Plon. As you can see, he's pretty tough. Dude is very strong. Although I will say I did not expect to die quite that fast. I probably shouldn't Black Knight. I should probably just Havel to show off. If I'm intending not to parry him. If you parry him, I could go in naked, so... Let's Havel just to show the man fight mode. Again, Smoes would be better, but... I don't want to fight the final boss looking like fucking Smoes' 10-year-old child or whatever. Yes, let's... Since we're not actually in the fight, and while we're taking a minute to run back, let's also take a minute to think about Gwyn the fight and the music, and what it signifies. This is nothing new. This is every Dark Souls player will be like, yes. Sad Plein Plons. Why sad Plein Plons? Because the fight is sad. Gwyn, final boss, king of the gods, and yet... the music is not some grand orchestral epic with a choir or whatever, like Ornstein and Smo. It's sad piano. And that is because it's not an epic fight against some grand opponent, it's you putting an old man out of his misery, basically. Gwyn has been hollowed. Or he sacrifices everything to the flame to extend the age of the gods. His age and the age of his people. The age of his children, you could even maybe argue. He gave up his life, his soul, and everything. He is left now nothing but this burnt-out old husk. He is a hollow, essentially. Which, everyone in this world, or at least all the people... were hollow originally. It was, and then from the dark, they came. Those hollows at the beginning there. Without the souls found from the flames, that's what everyone is. Gods, human, the dead, the witches, everything. Which is also why humans that lose their humanity and their souls and everything and turn hollow end up eventually as beef jerky men. Because that's their original state. Gwyn is pretty hollowed out. He's just this old, withered husk. What was once king of the gods, and an absolutely unstoppable badass of immense power outstripping all else, though still undoubtedly strong. Even as burnt out as he is, he's strong. But he's nothing but a shadow of that. And so the music is sad because, like I said, we're just putting it out of his misery. We're putting an end to it. And that's tragic, but it has to be done. Also, if you are parry cheesing him, which I might show off a parry in just a minute. Ooh, that was fast. It's easy enough. And the music stops. And he dies pathetically. As you can see, you can also stagger him just with the Zweihander R2 as well. If you also want a pretty pathetic end to the King of the Gods. I can take this off. Just look at his soul. And then let us be done. Soul of the Gwyn, interesting, Lord of Sunlight, and Cinder, Lord of Sunlight and Cinder, who linked the first flame. Lord Gwyn bequeathed most of his power to the gods and burned his cinder for the first flame. But even so, Lord Gwyn's soul is a powerful thing indeed. Also, let's look at Manus. Soul of Manus, father of the abyss. His extraordinary soul is a viscous, lukewarm lump of gentle humanity. That's an interesting combination. Ancient Manus was clearly once human, but he became the father of the abyss after his humanity went wild, eternally seeking his precious broken pendant. Oh, that reminds me, we never actually got from Manus' soul. So from Manus' soul, you can get a spell, Affinity. It summons little these things that are like little humanity phantoms that are around you until they find an enemy to home in on. And then they chase it down and hit it. And the description talks about they seek out other sources of they seek out other things, especially other humanity, out of love or hate, who knows. So it's another sort of humanity damaging itself as it seeks itself, but whether it's from love or hate, who can say? Anyways, the first flame. We are not going to link it, though. If we can, if you get it, you just get a cutscene of yourself setting yourself on fire, by the way, which is also less interesting than what we're going to be seeing. But more than that, I think it's time we move on. We've seen what happens when we try and help, when we try and preserve people. We saw what happened to Siegmeyer when we tried to help him. We saw what happened to Solaire seeking his own son. We saw all the people we met along the way chase their dreams only to eventually lose everything and go hollow. We've seen Anor Londo dark and empty as it really is, all the gods having fled or dead. We've seen humanity oppressed and now reduced to nothing but hollows, or reduced to hollows, unable to even die properly. We've seen the gods and their attempts to extend their own dying age by sacrificing people who may or may not serve to benefit from it. And we've seen the truth that no matter what we do, the dark will eventually come. And given all that, I at least would rather move on and see what we can get next rather than try to hold on to a lie.
My lord, bless thy safe return. Let Karth and Frampt serve your highness. We are here to serve your highness. Let true dark be cast upon the world. Our Lord hath returned.
Okay. And that is Dark Souls. Ending probably leaves you with a lot of questions, but that too is Dark Souls. What Karth and Frampt are? Why were there so many of them? Were they ever even different? What is their goal? Where do they come from? What do they do? There are no answers. And that, I think, is part of the beauty of it. It evokes that seems to attempt to evoke that feeling of wonder that Miyazaki seemingly felt, or of curiosity, wonder, and all that. Reading books in languages he could not fully understand. Which I think it does a magnificent job of, personally. It's a game with... It's an ambitious game. Attempts to do a lot. From all the themes, the atmosphere, the incredible level design, the world, the combat. It is a somewhat difficult game, but as the whole point of this is, not that hard. But even what difficulty there is just meant to reinforce the feeling in the world, the atmosphere, this idea of this dying, dangerous world, where it's very easy to lose yourself, to die, to lose hope, to give up. Where your attempts to help do not go as planned, and you end up just leaving people with worse off than they were. A place where very little is actually told to you, and honestly, the people that do tell you things, at least the most obvious ones, are lying. And you don't know what you can even trust, what is fact and what is fiction. It's a very sad game, but yet has a hope to it. Knowing that the Age of Dark will come is perhaps a comforting thing in a sense, that no matter what we don't know what it is, it's an unknown, it's scary, and it might be awful, but there is some peace in accepting it. And at least, with what we have now, it might be worth a shot. Plus, it's a game that, for all its difficulty, wants you to succeed. It wants you to learn, to improve, and eventually overcome. And gives you as much opportunity as you need to do so. And despite what it seems, does not actually punish you that much for failures. It's a very interesting, very powerful game that, unfortunately, I'm not sure if we'll see its like again from Software, at least. As much as I adore some of their subsequent games, namely Bloodborne and Sekiro, DS2 and DS3 maybe a little less so. As incredible of the games as those are, none of them quite capture the spark that this game did for me. They don't have the incredible level design. They don't have the same... Well, the atmosphere is pretty good, but they don't have the themes to quite the same... Or don't have quite as strong of theming, but moreover, they don't have the human element. The NPCs and the sort of side stories. In pretty much all those games... Well, DS2 and 3 especially, where... DS2 more than anyone. DS2, you just talk to the NPCs, they show up at Majula, and then they never leave. Whereas here, the NPCs do come and go from Firelink somewhat, as if they are people of their own. But also just the NPC quest lines in all those games, even when they exist, which they sometimes don't, tend to be short, unsatisfying, with very little substance. So I think the things I love about this game, the themes, the humanity, the stories...
Yes, indeed. The dark sign brands the undead.
Those, I think, are likely not things we might not see from FromSoft again. They still pull off the atmosphere and gameplay and some other stuff, but the spark has perhaps somewhat gone out. And yes, as obvious, you've beat the game, you start a new game plus. Enemies get stronger, but you're obviously much stronger. Yourself. And honestly, up until you hit Anor Londo, it's way easier the second time through than the first. Also, you get more souls from kills. But before we end off, what we're gonna do is just pulverize the Asylum Demon. Demon on the roof. Get away! Call an ambulance! Call an ambulance! But not for me! You still have to go through the rest of it to actually get the key, but you get the Demon's Great Hammer if you kill him there. Anyways, that was Dark Souls, my favorite game of all time. Thank you for